emblem of justice, of truth, of equity, on a civic courage. We're here to speak words and life into the polity, into the governance, into the business structures, into the families, and all the gates of society that does exist, including education, health, and everything that we can think about. And so it's important to pay attention as we glide through the different phases. Of course, there are several people who are going to be here today. We're here on the instance of what we call COPDEM, the Coalition for the Protection of Democracy. That's very strong. As long as I've known Nigeria, we've been fighting for what? For the protection of our democracies. And so there is no highest body today that symbolizes this strength and this essence than the platform upon which this event is being held. It's called the Coalition for the Protection of Democracy. And today symbolizes the day in our nation's history that true democracy was born, actually. You know, if you look at the timeline in history, whether you talk about the ANC movement or you talk about the civil rights movement, for each of those movements, they went at least across 80 years. And so when we have discourse and we talk to our peers as concerning what happened in Nigeria and why we're here today, the 2023 general election was pivotal in the history of Nigeria because people who did not pay attention to governance, who are not even inclined to polity or politics, woke up. Market women, children, garri sellers, students, drivers, they just pick up the tabs. For the first time in the history of our nation, something was ignited, something was awoken beyond the status quo. And today, because a life was lost, you know, it took about 87 years before Martin Luther was killed in the fight against the civil rights movement. Actually, about 82 years before Mandela became president. Which means that the fights and the things and the gladiators and the principles and the people who have been fighting for our democracy in the last maybe 60 years plus are not the real people who are going to truly enjoy the dividends of democracy. If you look at nations around the world today that we celebrate, that we love, the places we love to go to, the UK and the US and Europe and America and all the other places, 150 years ago, 200 years ago, most of those places were killing fields. I say that to encourage us as a people because what has been ignited in 2023, heralded by the majority of the people that I see here today, does not need in any way. Actually, you won. Actually, we won. Democracy actually won. And that's why when you look at what is happening now in our nation with the trajectory of things, we actually have never come this low where the decency of the democratic ideals or the value systems that we hold there are completely blurred because, like they say, it gets really dark before it's dawn. And so today, we live in a nation where people are actually given ministerial position for their ability to snatch, grab, and run away with ballot boxes. As a matter of fact, I'll give you an info. If you want to be an ambassador, begin to insult certain people. Insult them. Call them. Your mama, your papa, cockroach, God born you. Insult them. The ability to be able to insult people and abuse them can fetch you an ambassadorial position. It looks like a joke, so I don't envy this generation. Because at least for me, and for those of us who are a bit old, there are a clear lines between what is right and what is wrong. And so when you get to a point where you cannot see clear lines, people who have no history, People who have no name, people who you cannot point anything to are taking places. I mean, in a normal setting, people who should resign and go home out of shame have now become emboldened. And they even dare to say that a gathering like this is not even one that is worth it. This is where we are. But it tells you that it's just about done. And so tonight, don't let me bore you with, those of us who read PhDs who just talk a lot of rhetorics. But to defend democracy, the blood, the guts, the sweat of certain heroes who have to go down. And heroes are not necessarily by age or by status. It has to do with people who will rise up to hold the torchlight, because our founding fathers, though different, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe was about the oldest. He was about 40 or 41. Ahmadu Bello was much younger. Pa Awolowo, they were all in their 30s. So they were within this age bracket. When people say that, no, Nigeria is just, no, they fought. Between 1950 and 1960, there was a lot. It was Nigeria's choice to be together. Nigeria didn't just happen. They came together. Yeah, the reason they came together might be weak, but it was a decision that was made. A lot of conferences and a lot of fight, and they decided to kick out the white people and give us a democracy. When you read the books, I'll just cite one example to tell you how things have been really pulverized in our system. I've had debates with professors who didn't know. When you hear words like Nigeria is just a mere geographic expression, who do you refer that to? That is the most skewed, wrongest expressions that have been ascribed to a legend like Pa Awolowo. He wrote a book in 1947 called The Pathway to Nigeria's Freedom. And in that book, he declared that Nigeria is a mere geographical expression, not any difference from France, America, or other people. Is somebody hearing me? Because I need students to hear me. In 1947, was Nigeria born? Nigeria wasn't even born yet. That was when Pa Awolowo declared that Nigeria is just a merge. It is what we make of it. Does somebody understand? But I have met professors of law in school who did not, because we don't read anymore. Everything we get is from the pages of what? Social media. That's why just a few weeks ago, the people who persecuted the civil war, I mean, do you know what it means to have a Babangida alive, to have a Tiwa alive, to have Gowon in one room? And they said the war was not an Igbo war, but you have rats, some rats with R names, educating people and telling them that the people who fought the war are still alive. And they came. If you don't read, you must dig in deep. The people that will change Nigeria, they're not just people that carry dreads or just wear clothes. It's not, no, you must read. I carry dread, but I go to school. I read. It took 7 years to get my PhD. When you open your mouth, they should know that a Nigerian is talking. When I lecture in Sierra Leone, in South Africa, in Kenya, I know somebody's wondering, 30 countries around the world with Dada, but when I show up, you know that a Nigerian is in that room. Now, you must read, because we are the ones to debunk all the nonsense going on social. But you have to read. So 1947, Pa Awolowo, we don't even have tribalists. Do you know that if we have tribalists in Nigeria, Nigerians will be better? Show me, is there any eastern state that a Yoruba person is governing? Is it an Igbo person that is the governor of Lagos State? Is there a Yoruba person that is the governor of Sokoto State? Is there any state in Nigeria that the local government is like Dubai? Is there any state working in Nigeria? What that tells you that is not the tribe. In fact, your own tribe that the ones killing you. I lived in Dubai at a point for 30 days. Dubai is an Islamic state. The local government in Dubai provided buses for we Christians to go to church and come back free. Because it is important for them that we go to church and come and hold service. Here, a particular denomination of a church will not carry the person in the bus of another branch. And so, as I leave you, I want to tell you that if Ifeanyi does something to Tolu, don't say Igbo did something to Yoruba, because there are 1 million Ifeanyi that are good. If Shehu kills Tunde, no, it is not Fulani that did that. If somebody get what I'm saying? We must hold individual people accountable. And I'm not saying this to patronize. Do you know the way P2B won Lagos? It is because Yoruba people voted for P2B. But the people who want to destroy us because we know they read, they want to quickly. Do you know the gap that he gave him? Let me give you an example of the gap. The senator of FCT, they cancelled all the results from all the other places. Amak alone still gave Aduda like 1 million gap. That is how much the last election was won. You know we're talking about democracy today, right? And so I would like to bring somebody up to talk to us. While democracy should be a government by what? For the people and by the people. Is that what we have today? Somebody will help us tell that story better as we journey in this, But it's good. The only thing I'm going to do before I bring up the person is to tell you that if you are in this room, the torch bearers of a new Nigeria, if you're one of those people, if you are part of those people who have determined that a new Nigeria is inevitable. And what we mean by that new Nigeria is that in Nigeria, where the child of nobody can be somebody, where when people win elections, they are given their place, where it is not about tribe, but Nigeria. That when you stand and you are speaking, as I'm speaking right now, you're not looking at a thief man or an Igbo man. When I'm speaking, you are seeing Nigeria. You're not seeing a Christian or a Muslim. That time when we will come, it will not matter whether I'm wearing a Babariga, I'm wearing an Ishiagu. That what will matter is what is right before us. If you are one of those people who believe that, and you truly, in your heart of heart, that's what you want for Nigeria, especially like you to stand up on your feet, walk up to 3 people and tell them a new Nigeria is possible and that democracy will definitely take its place one day. Thank you, sir. Oh yeah, it's possible. It's possible. A new Nigeria is possible. A new Nigeria is possible. All right, that being said, thank you. Please, a new Nigeria is possible. Absolutely. A new Nigeria is possible and democracy will take its place. But I welcome somebody to help us. Where are we truly in democracy in Nigeria today? Ladies and gentlemen, an icebreaker in this event. Help me welcome the one and only Mama P!
In the heart of the city where stories unfold, Njenje Media TV shining bright and bold, bringing news from the corners of the globe, connects us together no matter the road.